first we're going to start this project. So let me just clear this thing. ls. Okay. Remember I created a project here on Figma that I wanted us to work on. Hey guys, what's up here? Remember I created this project on Figma. That was a plan to start this project and code it from scratch up until the end of the page. We might stop here, we might extend as time goes. I don't know where we're going to end, but I created this. I thought this was going to be a fun project to make because we're going to have fun shapes to create here for styling, and actually styling overall, and sometimes what makes us make certain decisions on certain things. Let me check if that camera is recording, because earlier on I thought I was recording while I was not. It looks like it's recording and I can't check. I was out of focus, so I hit record and it went out of focus by itself. So let's continue. So currently this is the page that I want to create. We might change stuff as we go. So the first thing that I wanted to show you is that I just opened a file, a folder that's on my desktop over here. Let me show you this folder here. If you can see it, is the one that we're going to work on. So I also opened a terminal over here. At the terminal, I seed it into the folder that I want to work on, which is myblog.com, which is that folder over there. So if you're using a MacBook, you're going to just say ls to see where you are, and then it will show you the files that are in that folder that you are in. So I was in the main folder, which is the main folder, yeah. And then in that folder I had desktop, photos and everything. Those are the folders on the folder. So I just do cd desktop, then it went into the desktop. Then on the desktop I said cd my blog, and then it went into the my blog folder. I won't show you that. If you need to learn how to use the terminal from that point, I can make a video on that, but I'm just going to continue because I don't want this video to be too long. So now that we are on that, and I also have a Visual Studio Code editor on the same folder, you can see that it says my blog over here, and then I am on myblog.com, which is the folder that's on my desktop. So what I wanted to do is that we're going to start from scratch, 000. So you just have a folder that is empty on your desktop, which is going to be your website. It doesn't have anything inside, and we're starting the website from scratch. And I don't know how far we're going to go with these tutorials, but I might go into as far as even launching this website on the server, because I have a server. I have a hosting plan with one of my favorite hosting companies, and then I have space there where I can just buy another domain or use a subdomain of my existing websites and just show you how to deploy the website. So let's start from there. So this is my blog.com. It has absolutely nothing. I'm going to keep it open so that we can see as I go if any file is added through the terminal. So we have two terminals actually. We have this terminal over here, and we have the Visual Studio Code terminal as well open. The first one that I want to use is, let's say you want to create a file inside of this. So you can come here and say index.html and hit enter. Index.html, and then just like that you have a file created inside of your folder that's using the normal Visual Studio Code icons over here. If you don't want to do that, you can use the terminal. So with the terminal, let's create another file. We're gonna say, I'm using the terminal now, you can see that I'm here. You're gonna say touch main dot css, main.css. So touch is the command that will let on MacBook. It's a command that will let any terminal create the file that you mentioned. So main.css is going to be a file that I'm creating. It's a main.css file. It's going to be next to the just below the index.html or above the index.html, but in the same folder. So if I hit enter, you will see that file is created, main.css. So that's how you create it on the terminal. So you can use the same command on the outside terminal as well, this terminal over here. So with this one, let's create a package.json. I will explain what the package.json file is as we go. So if you're ever gonna use any actually let's make sure that you have installed what we Node.js first quickly first actually. So I want you to go to nodejs.org. Node, I put it there, nodejs.org. Yeah, so you're gonna go to nodejs.org. I just wanna remove it from here and move the rest of the stuff outside of our workspace, so that we have a few things to deal with. So we are on this website over here. We are on this browser, nodejs.co.org, and then here you can just get Node. Click on the button that says get Node, and then you choose your operating system over here, and then you just install Node on your PC. So it will allow you to install the other packages that we use on our website. So nodejs.org, you download that, you install it. When you're done, then we continue on here. I'll just give you a few minutes. You can pause the video and do that, and when you're done, we come back. Now that you have installed Node.js, we're going back to the big terminal, the MacBook terminal. Yeah, so I'm just gonna clear the terminal to make sure that there's nothing else there, so that it doesn't confuse you. But you can see we are in myblog.com folder as well. So I'm just gonna create the package.json. So you just gonna say touch again, touch package.json file. So remember guys, if you misspell this file, it's not gonna work. So you have to make it the way it's supposed to be. It's called package.json, and then you can Google it and just so that you are sure if you're typing it right. Package.json file, and then when you hit enter, it will create. I don't want to create it this way. Actually, you shouldn't create package.json like that. Instead, because you have installed npm, you just go npm init. So you are initializing npm to create the package.json for you. So you're gonna say npm init, and then you hit enter. It will initiate the file, but you gonna have to give the file all other you're gonna give it a name, all these things. So let's go through it step by step. So it's asking you what's the package name. If you type anything else, it will change, but because it's my blog.com, I'm just going to leave it like that and hit enter. It says which version of the website are you creating. So if it's a first version, let's say you were creating a website template that you're going to update as you go, because normally if it's a template and you're going to sell it online, you will keep updating it. You're going to have a version 1, version 1.0, 1, 2, all different versions. So this is version 0.1. I'm hitting enter. And then the description, if it's a template, you're going to say my bloggers theme. So it's a theme. Normally, if it's a WordPress theme, you hit enter. That's what you're going to describe it as. And then entry point. Entry point is where your website, the file that opens first once you go to your website. So if your website is myblog.com, the first file that is going to be open on the browser is the one that you put here. So for us, it's going to be index.html, and you hit enter again, and then it says test command. So that you can leave. It's going to put it's a script here. It needs a script. The package.json needs a script. So you can just put that, or you can leave it blank. Hit enter. Git repository. So normally if you are going to put your project on Git, you have to have a link for Git repository that you're going to upload this file into. So I'm not going to upload it on Git for now. I'm going to hit enter, and then the keywords, I can just say web website or blog, whatever. I hit enter, and then author, it's your name, Jerry Mugwena, and then enter. License ICS is fine, and then common.js, you can leave it like that, and then it shows you what the package.json is going to look like. So you can just to confirm, and if it's fine, you hit enter, and then the package.json file is created. This package.json is going to list all your the dependencies for your website, if you're using any dependencies, whether it's dev dependencies or the real dependencies. Dev dependencies is the ones that you're going to use, like we're going to use SaaS for this project. So SaaS will be a dev dependency because it's not going to be uploaded on the server. It's just helping us create a website. But when you are done creating the website, the template, we can delete that. Our website will still work. But the dependencies are the ones that are uploaded. That needs to be live on the server as well, because those ones, the website needs them to operate. So that's at least how I can explain that for now. So we have a package.json. We could have created the same file by saying touch package.json, like I showed you. It was going to create a blank one. It would come back as package.json but with nothing. So that's the reason we don't create it like this, the package.json. And if there's any other file that we need to create, I'm going to use the other terminal. Actually, I was using this terminal. I don't know. Yeah, I was using this outside terminal. So you can do that. We will create other files or folders using the terminal going forward if we have to, or you can create this. So it's just up to you. So now, now that we have these files created and they are all blank, I think everything is blank here, we can close them. I have nothing open right now, nothing, absolutely zero files open. So let's start with our index.html. What's the index.html? I said that when we were creating the package.json file, that our entry point is going to be the index.html. So meaning we write our code on index.html and then we style it with style.css to give styles to our theme, our blog, styling the fonts, styling the images, positioning them. You know what I mean by styling, right? So this is where we start. So if you have an Emmet abbreviation, I think it's not called Emmet abbreviations, it's called HTML tag something. Let me just show you which plugin I'm talking about. This plugin here, if you have this one installed, you can just do shortcuts on here. So for instance, I want the boilerplate of the HTML, so the basic HTML file. So what you do is you hold down shift and exclamation and then just one. I don't know what I did. Yeah, I just hold it too much. You just do that and then it shows you Emmet abbreviations. If you hit enter, it will give you a boilerplate like that. So that is your first document. If you hit Control S, save, it's saved, and then we go back to our files, this file here, and then I want us to open it on the browser. Let's go to the browser quickly and not that one. Okay, thank God it just flew up here, up there where it's supposed to go. Node.js. We want this folder here. So I'm just gonna open this and drag it on the part. So this is the website that we have currently. We have a blank website, absolutely nothing on it, and you can see it says document up here. This is the title of the page. So you can see on Node.js when you are on download, it says Node.js-download Node.js. So here is normally the name of the website. I'm just gonna type the Invoice Pro is my website, so my other website. So it says the Invoice Pro, and then here is a description of what the website is. I usually put that on my title. So that means on my index.html for my title of the page title, I put that. So on this particular one, we have just it's written document, because it's a boilerplate. We didn't create this, it just came by default. So we can change it. So let's say it's my bloggers theme by 3J Media. So now I name it like this. It's a bloggers theme created by 3J Media. So when you come back here and refresh, you see that is where the title is. So your website title goes there. So we're good to go. Let's go to the next one. Now, I want to explain it a little bit. So the header is where you're putting all the important information about the template. For instance, HTML, language is English, of course, and then it says meta chassis, it's UTF-8. That is the basic language, I think, that the browser understands. Call it meta chassis UTF-8, and then it says a meta name. It's a viewport. The content is going to be width, is going to be device full width. It says that, and then initial scale, it's 1.0. So that means I think it's 1 scale, the whole scale here, not 0.5. So it would be smaller probably. I don't know exactly that. And then now again the other stuff, and then we have a title of the page as well. So this, as much as it looks like it's a normal HTML tag, it's not gonna show. It doesn't render it on the page. It goes right just on top on the page title up here. It's not part of the website. That is why our website is still blank. We have absolutely nothing here on the page here. It's still completely white. Then we go out of the head, we go into the body. So to continue on that, if you say link, Emmet abbreviation will give you all these options if you want to link all these files. So the only file that we're interested in linking is a CSS file. So if you come here and hit enter, it will give you the boilerplate of the link. So it says the link to REL, relationship with the file, is a style sheet. So REL is relationship, and then it says it's style sheet, and then the href is where the file is. So our file is just in the same folder, but the name is not style.css. Ours is main.css. So you have to change that style to main.css, and when you hit Control S to save it, now this knows that it must take the styling from the style sheet here. It's going to apply this to its fonts. So it's going to apply it to that. So if you refresh, you can see now the center is aligned, the font color has changed, and I think that's just about that. And it has a margin top of 20 pixels. So I'm just going to change this to 100 pixels just to show you that it's actually going to do. So it's going to increase the space on top of this. If you refresh the page, you see now it's 100 pixels. And if you inspect the element and get used to the habit of using the inspector dev tools, because this helps you to actually inspect your elements on the website. So this blog here, you can see that when I hover on this, the space above with a different color now, it's bigger than the space below, which is between the H1 and the P tag. So the P tag, the space is different. So we can also see that when you come here, margin, it has a margin top, margin right, margin bottom, of margin left, all of 8 pixels. That is the default. So you have to remove those if you style, because now that I've added my styling here, let's have a look again on this particular element, which is the H1. The H1 now has a font size of 2 rem. It says margin top is 100. It's probably 108 now because it added this. I think the margin on top, actually this is the margin, not the margin. And the other part, was it what? Let's see. The default page has, let's check. Just want to see. by default it has, oh man, yeah, by default it has 16 margin top of 16 and margin bottom of 16 by default. So it's adding 100 with 16, so it's 116 probably. So you have to remove that so that you can apply only what you want applied on this. So that's what you have to do. You have to do the basic reset of all this. Now, usually if you just create your website with these two files, you can style it, insert the images, do whatever you have to do using just CSS and index.html. You don't need a package.json. That means even if you didn't have that, the website will still work the same way. You will still see when you style something here, because you have linked the two, it would still work. But we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna change everything here. So let's actually do that quickly because it's part of setting up the project. I'm just gonna give us a lot of space. I don't know, yeah, I'm just gonna give us a lot of space. I'm coming here at the bottom and we're going to create a hero section. So I'm just gonna say dot hero. So with this, it will create a tag, and then with that tag, it will be a class. It's gonna create a div with a class hero and close it. So if I hit enter, there's gonna be a div, which is an HTML element with a class of hero. It's going to create a div with a class hero. Yes, let's just let's do that. It's there you are. So you have a div with a class of hero, and then h1, it wants to create again the h1. I can delete the bottom one and just leave with the second one. But again, let's actually delete it, so because it's good that it gave us another one. But why it went, wait, where did it go? Yeah, okay, and then can't it give us a paragraph? Let's say paragraph again, enter, and then it gave us the paragraph. Okay, there you are. I just wanted to have a paragraph inside of here. Perfect. So we have a div with a paragraph there, and then it has some nice description that it auto-generated for us. So now styling an h1 directly, it would, if we have h1s like this, all of them will be styled with whatever you're declaring on your CSS, and that's not how we style them. We have to give them a class so that it can style an h1 on page 1 different from the h1 on the other page. So that's normally the best practice. So if you want to do that, you can just hit space here and say class. Like it's showing you the class there. It can actually create a class for you, but you'll still have to put the name of the class. So let's do that. It created the class, so with the quotes, you see the quotes there, the double quotes, and then within that you can give the h1 a class of, let's say, main dash title. So if you're going to have the many h1s, you can give them different names and style them differently based on this class. And then so this one I'm going to give it a name of main title, and then the paragraph as well. So the paragraph as well, I'm going to give it a class of main blog, or yeah, main blog. I can give it exempt. I'm just going to do this. Actually, I was going to do that with 2 underscores here. But if, because we changed, we gave it a class, let's check if the styling still applies. So the styling still applies on this because it's declared on all h1s, but we going to remove it because we want the h1 with a class. So in order to do that, we're just gonna say class and give it the blog title, Command S. So it will only apply the styling to this particular one, and it also wants to, let me not allow it to help us anymore. Yeah, so it gave us this styling for the title. This is a new styling for the blog title. And let's say text transform, just to give it an uppercase and show you. Text transform, there you are. And then you will get these options as well. So we're going to choose the uppercase. And then when we save it, everything will be capitalized on this top. Okay. Let me have a look. Why now? Just want to check if something changed. It did not apply it block title. It did not main.css. It's block-title and main.title, not block. That's the reason. So it's main here. It's supposed to say main. So let's just change that and refresh. So it still still applies, but it transformed it to uppercase based on what we said. So even if we had another H1 here, it wouldn't style. It wouldn't. This would take preference because we have given an H1. This actually it's supposed to be H1. Come on. What did I do now? Okay. Yeah. So the main title will be styled like that, and I don't want to center align it for now, but let's just center align everything. Let's center align everything for now, and just for the sake of this exercise. So the main content is not main content for us. It's called actually, let's remove this. Let's just say main block for now, and refresh. We have to say main block, and then this one here, it must say main block, not main content main block. And when you refresh, it's center aligned. So it has some padding around, and it has some margins around based on what we have started with here. It says maximum width 600 pixels. So actually we gave it a maximum width of 600 pixels. I'm going to leave it for now, and we have to, before we do this, I wanted us to style the hero section first. So I usually start with the main container and start styling the stuff that's within the container, and you'll see how it works with when you start using SaaS, how we going to put everything inside of each other so that styling is easier. And so for now we're going to style the hero section. So I'm just going to say dot hero not image. Well, I don't have the hero image. So I actually can give all this text the white color, so it's going to be FFF. Yeah, that's fine. The white color here, and I want to give this one as well FFF, so that our text it's all white, so that you can see it. That's it. So we have a white text on the black background. Actually, I liked the darker color for this. I'm just going to give it 333. The color is darker so that you can actually see it. Not for the text, I bet. I want to give the background of the hero section. This one here, 333 here, and save it. So, and refresh. So this is our hero section. Usually this is how you will style. So you will give each element on the page different styling, and that's how you link the style sheet to the HTML. So I don't know if I can stop it here and continue with the next part of this video next time. So guys, let's stop it here and continue on part 2 later on. Cheers guys, see you on the next video.